Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chaise Chat here on the Sisterhood Cookout. It's myself, Alicia Joy, with your girl, Ann Wright.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hey.
We are so happy that you could join us again for another episode. This week, we're actually just going to do a continuation of last week because there's been so much going on with current events. So we wanted to kind of continue to discuss what's going on and how we're feeling and just how we're kind of navigating this whole space in our new normal. So we're going to pick up right where we left off. So, Ann, tell me, how are you feeling this week?
It was a very emotional week because it seemed like everywhere and everyone needed to discuss what's going on, and it brought a lot of emotion out. Like I said, I'm still working my 9 to 5, and at work we had a huddle and we talked about the situation. And we have a very mixed group in my group, and not everyone spoke, but a couple people did, and I spoke. And when I spoke, it was a little emotional. One, because we're still in a position where a lot of people don't get it. They strike straight at the minimalistic and explode that. One of the things that came up was the retired sheriff that was killed during the protest and then became riot. I do not justify or endorse anything that was done. Everybody needs to be punished. Everyone who needs to be jailed or whatever it is, no questions asked. They took a life. Understand you gotta take the punishment for it.
Right.
But the bigger picture, and we discussed this last time, is that a lot of people are not getting the bigger picture. All they're seeing is the list of names that people are reading off and saying, and of course we pray for them, we pray for their families, and we understand that there's a lot of grief. But that list is minimal to what the real list is. The real list is millions. This doesn't happen. This is not happening randomly. This happens every single day, every day. If you are a person of color, if you are in a lower class neighborhood where your income is less than 50,000, even with two people that are bringing full incomes in the house, you know that this happens every single day. This is a norm for us. And for the others that this is just becoming light into, they're like, oh my goodness, this is not, I can't believe this. Now, we've been saying this forever, that this has been happening. People have been swinging from trees, getting their skins burnt off. People have been separated from their families by force. They don't know where their lineages come from because they've been forced in other things. It's just a thing that's always been there, and it's always been there, but you want to look a different way. And because it's not in your face and in your front door, at your front door, you don't think it's real until you get proof. Thank God for technology. If we didn't have this technology we have now, we would still be in a position where do we let our kids out? Or do we even have kids? Because it's
Right.
like they're always in jeopardy. And women are just much in jeopardy as men are. Men 100% more, definitely 100% more, because it's been brainwashed and conditioned that men of color are dangerous. Hispanics, Blacks, Asians, it's always been a propaganda of stereotype that they are dangerous. Watch out for them when they come in. So everybody looks at them sideways as soon as they walk through a door. All they did was walk through a door. Let me not take it around because I feel like it's coming. So, yeah. I mean, just read your history, and not the history that's in the books that's in school. That is not real history. School
No.
books do not teach real history. Real history, go to a Black historical or as a Hispanic historical museum or library, or go to the libraries outside of your neighborhood that hold the real truth, because the real truth doesn't add up. What's been taught to us, it doesn't add up to where we are today. It doesn't, not even a little bit.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that's why there's so much confusion, is because there's been so much that has been covered up, that whenever people see it, they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Case in point, there was a young lady on TikTok, which I haven't gotten on yet, but I just saw somebody share the
Don't do
video.
it. Don't do
where
it. Don't get on TikTok. I'm telling you now, you will be losing sleep. But I digress. Go ahead.
So she was actually dancing, doing all the little latest dance moves, but she was actually speaking instead of letting the music play. And she was speaking to the history of Central Park in New York City, saying that that area actually used to be a community of African Americans, and it was thriving, and it was burned down because they did not want them to be thriving like that. So they burned it down and planted over it, and now it's Central Park. And that's something that I knew, that there's a lot of stuff underlying in New York City, but I never really knew the history behind Central Park. And so that just kind of really, spoke to me in the sense that once you really start to uncover and peel back the layers of this country, it's some nasty stuff. Like, there's some really nasty stuff, and it makes sense to see why we are where we are today.
Yes.
Because of our history that's just been swept under a rug. We've been tripping over this huge lump on this carpet, under the carpet, for how long, but nobody's been addressing it. Like, okay, why are we keep tripping over the same spot in the carpet? Yeah, that's where all the crap that you swept up under there is. So you got to air it out. You got to clean it out so that we can move past it. And, there's people expressing themselves in so many different ways right now. And, I myself, I need to stretch out on a whole couch right now, like a real therapist couch, because it's so crazy seeing everything and being someone who, cares about other people and what they're going through, and hating to see what, people of color are going through right now still, and the fact that it's just mounting and mounting, and that you can see it so prevalent. Everywhere you turn, there's another video, there's another audio clip of something going wrong, someone being mistreated, someone being abused, someone who's a victim of excessive force. It's just constantly around and being exposed to it. And, I just felt overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed this week, and I didn't realize it until I took my daughter back to New York to be with her father. And I got back home, and I was just kind of sitting in silence. And that's when everything just kind of hit me. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is too much. Like, I just need to shut everything down, because it was crazy. Like, whenever you really put everything together, what's going on in the world, trying to, build my brand, get products out, trying to get, my 9 to 5 up and running again, with the COVID closing the salon, and like all these things that are going on. And it's just like, you kind of want to just jump in a hole somewhere. And so I really had to kind of take a minute to pull back, shut down. I'm trying not to, overexpose myself to everything, because I don't want to become, you don't want to become desensitized to what's going on, because it is important for us to feel it to a certain extent, because once we become numb to it, then it continues to be okay. And it's not okay. So, so there was that for this week. It was a bit of a struggle, but I think now I'm starting to kind of regain my focus after doing some meditation and really kind of stepping back away from social media and the news and all of those things. So yeah, that was my week. It was a struggle. Of course, as we mentioned last week, having a close friend struggling with her son, who is now has a case against him because of, attending a protest and things going wrong between him and the police. So, there's definitely a lot to, kind of keep you overstimulated in a sense. But it's finding that balance of how not to be overwhelmed, but also how not to check out, so that's kind of where I find myself right now.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned that. This is Erica Cantola.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying her name right? Erica Cantola. Mm-hmm. She was a guest on our Chaise chat last week when we brought this matter up for current events and real talk. So her son is Jalil.
Mm-hmm.
Jalil has, she started a GoFundMe page and it's up to $65,000, which is awesome. I'm glad the
That's
community is coming back. Um, we've contributed and will continue to contribute to this because it is something that we need to stick together and make sure that he's taken care of, the family's taken care of. So thank you, Erica, for sharing. And thank you, Erica, for letting us in, and we'll continue to support you and your family.
Absolutely.
And thank you for the other ladies. We had Misha on the line last week, and we had Aaliyah on the line as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you guys back again. And others, please feel free. So please like, share, and comment out below about how you're feeling, how your community is doing, what's going on. A little history, please. If you have some real history on certain subjects, certain locations, certain things, please share, because learning real history is the way to go.
Right.
There's other organizations that are putting out things that will put light to the real history behind how we got to where we are now. Here's another thing that came up yesterday too. I started working out because
Oh, really?
yeah, I did. I even invested in a personal trainer because I in the last year I had tragedy in my life last year, and I've been off big time, to the point where working out and walking, and if you ever follow me on Facebook or anything, they know I'm a Fitbitter, so I'm walking miles, getting those steps in. I've
Yeah.
barely hit a mark in the last year. Yeah. So I'm trying to get myself back on it. And then quarantine has put me in a kid in a toy store, candy store type of situation where everything I would never do before, I was doing it. Everything I would never eat before, I was eating it. Everything I would never drink before, I was drinking it. So I've been really bad. I've been super duper bad. So I know that I can't do it by myself to get back on, you know. Like, so for us who need rehab, the gym is our rehab because we need to get back on track. So in bringing that up, I was telling and you guys will always hear about my brother and my sister-in-law because I'm super duper proud of them right now. She's running for the mayor of Baltimore. They voted last week. They're still waiting. She's looking really good for her. So I brought that up as part of what I do. And then we brought up, he asked if I believe in her belief system because she's a Republican. I'm not. And it's by choice. It's not by political gain. It's by choice, what she chose to do. And it's fine. I respect that, like I respect anybody else. Do we believe in everything? And he asked me that directly. He's like, you follow her? I was like, yeah. You believe in her? I said, yeah. And he said, yeah? I said, yes. Not that we agree and we see the same views on everything, but we understand that there's a middle ground. It's just like any other marriage, any type of relationship. If you see the other side's point of view, you can come to a middle ground where you see where you can cohabitate, right? So and it was so funny because one of the things is we looked at the Constitution, and the Constitution says the First Amendment is freedom of speech, right? So that's why we're here, so we can speak our minds and feelings and how we view things right now. And you know, but the Second Amendment is the right to arms. Why is the Second Amendment the right to arms? I don't get that. And that's where we start to lose the same type of thing. But I get it, and I'm like, no, why do we need AK-47 or whatever the number is? I don't even know. Whatever, why do we need automatic weapons? I don't get that. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? The military should have that. We don't need that. If you're a hunter, whatever you're hunting is more likely scared of you than it is of you of it, because you have the deadly weapon. They have their physical force. So unless they can come in contact with you, you're really in no danger. You know, so it's like, why do you need these things? Okay, but I digress. Again, the point is that when you put something like the Second Amendment, second, who is that towards? Because the people who put that second, they weren't fighting against others who had automatic weapons. They didn't have anything with powder in it, that like any guns or anything like that. They made their weapons with hands. They're all from nature, wood, stone, fire. That was their weapon. Who brought these guns over and then made that the Second Amendment? You got to question. And who were they going after that who could not protect themselves? And then you're swarming in shiploads of backup who for people who are already here. I'm just saying, let's just take a better look at that.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you really look at it like you did, it makes sense to that question. Like, okay, with us being considered 3/5 of the person, and all these things that they had kind of implemented in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and all these documents, and it's like, what was the real goal here? Like, what? I don't know. And now that we look back at it and we're wondering, okay, how did we get where we are? Well, it's because all the principles that this country was built on are a little askew. We kind of need to
No, not a little, not a little. They were directed. Anytime, like you said before, with the Central Park, whenever there was gain, there was a law to stop it. Every time there was gain, there was a law. Like marrying or dating a white woman, and I'm gonna say white woman because that is exactly what it says in the Constitution. If you date or touch or look at a white woman, you will be killed or jailed for life, like basically. And it's still there, sort of. I gotta check, but the law still hasn't gone. It's just being ignored. But if someone wanted to enforce it, they can, because it's still written in there. It's still written in there. Now, I'm not going to say, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not anything of legal statute at all. So if there's an amendment, please write it down in the comments. Let me know where it is, because I would love to know. But on a lot of those old statutes that were in there or put in there to suppress the betterment of mankind, they're there for a reason. They weren't there because, oh, we just needed the law change. No, it was to stop the minorities from getting better and taking over. And every time they saw an uprise between the minorities, they started putting a new rule in. Do you know that the Irish and blacks used to be partners? Did you know that?
No.
Especially down on the Battery Park area of New York. They were partners down there. And when certain Europeans found out, they made the Irish and police officers police, so they could start policing. And that's how the separation came about, just turning them into law enforcement. Isn't that sweet?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So enough of the Black history and right now, because I know that's going to get heavy. But again, spread it. Just comment below. Let us know what else you know and anything. And don't let it be hearsay. Do your own reading and do your own history. What I am telling you, I have studied. Okay. And it's been a long time, so I can't give you word for word. Sorry. Okay. But it's things that I have researched myself because I've been curious. I wanted to know. I was tired of someone feeding me what is. It's not what is not is. No. There's always a second part to it. There was something else. Okay. Founding fathers, they found what? What they find? Okay. So I'm not, again, I don't want to take away from everyone's beliefs or whatever it is, but the truth is the truth. I don't care what you think of it, if you like it or not, the truth is the truth. And stop rewriting history.
Right. Exactly. And for those who have reached out, I have friends of all hue, shape, size, color, and I've had a few reach out and send me a message and pretty much saying that they understand our fight and that they support, which I felt I was happy that they felt comfortable enough to reach out, or felt it was important enough to reach out and say something. But it's not, I feel, for me personally, I feel like I don't need for, my Caucasian or Asian or whatever friends to reach out to me and let me know that they support me. I need you to go back to your constituents
Yes.
and talk to them.
Yes.
That's where we need to focus. I know where your heart is. Go back to your communities.
Yes.
Find out where the heart is of the people who are in your neighborhood, in your community, in your family, and address them. If they're not on point with, all mankind being able to prosper, then that's where your fight is. Just saying that you support me is wonderful, but your fight is with them. So that's my take on it. Just the best way that you can support us right now through, Black Lives Matter or whatever, there is to be able to have open conversations with the people in your community who, may not know all the history. Some people have lived in a bubble their whole life, and they think that, the things that we've read in history books is what it is, and they've never been exposed to truth. So expose them. Have these conversations with the people in your family and in your community so that they can become more aware, because people can change their mind. People can change. But that's something that they have to really address in their heart in order to move forward. So I hope that, through all of this, there will be change, for the better, so that we can all prosper. It's so important. And I mean, all nations across the world will be just so much better if we just start to embrace people for their differences, for whether it's religious or, political or whatever. As long as we're all moving forward for the betterment of mankind, then we should really, have a problem.
And here's a little tidbit too. The Constitution, pull it up, take a look at it, read it. Even if you read like a paragraph, or because it's long and it's boring. But if you just read a little bit at a time, eventually you'll get through the whole thing and you'll have the truth. Okay? The real truth. And don't go to Google and pull up the latest one. Go to the one that's in Congress, okay? And pull that one up. And then you can read that for yourself. So you don't have to take our word for it. Don't. Go and look it up, read it. And then on second thing is too, and if you think what we're saying is crazy and we're not telling the truth, if you like the ice cream truck, the ice cream truck that comes around in your neighborhood and they play that music, and all you need to do is hear that music, and you're like, okay, where's the Wallace? Come on, we gotta go get ice cream. Like, okay, that music, that song that they're playing, Google it and tell me what the lyrics are. I'm not gonna.
Oh, wow. We'll have to get that back for
the
this
music
episode.
the ice cream truck plays, the traditional one that everybody knows and loves because they know that's bringing sweets to you. Look it up, look up that song, and tell me, comment below the lyrics to that song.
I didn't even know it had lyrics. I thought it was just music.
Everything that has music has lyrics, and that one has very special lyrics.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look this up and see.
Yes, and I'm not going to tell you what it says. Okay, but I really appreciate Alicia a lot. You guys don't know, I just love her to death. She's my second sister over here, because she will bring up the craziest things, and I'll be like, okay, let's do it. And one of these things is really one of the things I love to do is bring out the truth of what is going on and what we feel. And it's okay to talk about it. And this is a safe place. Okay? This is safe. We're not going to attack each other. There's no, what are you talking about? No, everybody's a safe place, but we are not going to attack each other. That is not it. This is about discussion. This is a Chaise lounge, Chaise talk. We're laying down, like she said, with us in a safe place, like you talking to your therapist. Although we're not certified, we're not saying we're not certified. You can just talk to us, and we'll talk to you, and we want to know what you think and what you feel. So I think I don't know, anything else you want to go over, because I feel I need a woosah.
Well, I did pick up a few pieces because I'm trying to support more Black businesses. So I got these beautiful pieces here from Beauty Melanin, which is a store. They have like a little Facebook and online shop or whatever. It's so cute though. I was like, oh,
Yes, yes. Support
yes,
businesses
yes,
because there's the economy. A lot of people think that there's not enough to go around. There's a ton to go around. Okay,
more
don't
than
think that you have to support Black-owned businesses and there's no other businesses that you can buy from. No, if you like a store and you like the pieces, support it, no matter where it's from. But what we're asking to say is that recognize that there's also great things that are Black owned too that we can support, you know? And I think, I ain't gonna lie, I've been looking for some wineries that I could support.
absolutely, absolutely. Because they're
Because
out there for
it's so
sure.
much. And yeah, I get my jewelry from, I'm starting to pull them out now. Thank goodness for Chaise chat, because now I'm actually starting to pull things out that I had in storage for the longest.
Right.
Just collecting dust for like no reason. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I
Um,
know, I know.
Now,
Awesome. Well, I'm so appreciative of you. You know, you always kind of pull me out even whenever I'm dug deep in there and don't want to be bothered. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in my life. And Ann's like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. So it's always good, to know who those people are that can help, lift you up when you need to be lifted. So definitely um, continue to support, check in on your sisters. That's what Sisterhood Cookout was created for,
yes,
just a place where we can kind of check in on each other, say hi, share things, share our thoughts and not feel like you're being judged for anything. You can kind of just let your hair down and be who you are. I ain't got no hair, but, we're going to lay it down anyway. Take your wig off, whatever it is. So, thank you guys for being on, for supporting, for watching, for liking. Continue to support, share. We
yes,
really appreciate everyone hopping on and just kind of being a part of our community. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Continue to go out there and share the light with the world. We know it's a dark time. We know it's a confusing time. We know there's a lot going on, but just try to go out there and continue to share your light. Everyone has something to contribute. Definitely know your laws, know your rights as you're going out there, because things
yes,
will continue to be a little bit, crazy. So know where you're going, be aware, and have resources available. There are plenty out there, so definitely do your research. And again, thank you guys for joining us this weekend.
thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. Like and share. Make sure you subscribe.